What if I told you that everything you learned about the origin of humanity might be incomplete? That there exists a version of our history involving beings of light from a distant cluster of stars, known as Pleiadians, who would have not only visited our planet thousands of years ago, but actively participated in the creation and evolution of the human race? When we begin to connect seemingly scattered points in archaeology, ancient mythology, and contemporary reports of extraterrestrial contacts, an intriguing pattern emerges. Today we're going to explore together this narrative that challenges our understanding of who we really are and where we came from. Have you ever wondered why so many ancient civilizations, separated by oceans and millennia, share surprisingly similar stories about gods who descended from the sky? Why do these same cultures point to a specific constellation, the Pleiades, as the home of their creators? And even more intriguingly, why do hundreds of people around the world claim to maintain current contact with these same beings? Prepare yourself for a journey that will question everything you thought you knew about our origin. What we're going to explore today is an alternative narrative about humanity, a story that has been preserved through the centuries and today gains new life through inexplicable archaeological discoveries and contact reports that deserve our attention. When we look at the night sky, one of the most easily recognizable stellar formations is the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. This star cluster, located approximately 444 light-years from Earth, has fascinated humanity since time immemorial. What should make us reflect is why practically all ancient civilizations on Earth developed specific knowledge and elaborate myths about these stars. The ancient Greeks preserved the story of the 7 daughters of Atlas who were transformed into stars, a narrative that some interpret as coded memory of ancient events. The Japanese called them Subaru, recognizing 7 deities who protected humanity. For Mesoamerican peoples, the Pleiades were fundamental in their astronomical calendars, considered as the place from which all life emanated, suggesting advanced astronomical knowledge for the time. Australian Aborigines, kept isolated for tens of thousands of years, preserved elaborate knowledge about these same stars, calling them the Seven Sisters, and keeping alive detailed stories about beings who came from them to teach the first humans. What we find in the traditions of Native American peoples is particularly notable. The Hopi, Cherokee, Lakota, and dozens of other tribes all maintain oral traditions that speak of stellar ancestors coming from the Pleiades. They knew this constellation with impressive detail and preserved narratives about the return of these star brothers to reunite with humanity. Ancient Egyptian traditions present similar connections. The pyramid texts repeatedly mention the 7 stars as the destination of pharaohs' souls after death. Many ancient Egyptian temples were built with precise alignments facing the Pleiades, suggesting deep spiritual and possibly technological importance. The consistency of descriptions across cultures raises fascinating questions. Regardless of culture or historical period, beings associated with the Pleiades are described as tall, luminous, peaceful, and possessing advanced knowledge of agriculture, astronomy, and healing. This global consistency could point to shared experiences by humanity or represent universal archetypes of the human psyche. Modern archaeology reveals discoveries that challenge our understanding of ancient civilizations' capabilities. Some researchers suggest that this knowledge, apparently impossible for the time, may have external origins, possibly related to the visitors described in ancient traditions. At Puma Punku in Bolivia, we find stone structures cut with precision that questions our understanding of the technological capabilities available at the time. The stones, some weighing more than 100 tons, were cut and fitted with millimeter tolerances. These stones present perfectly circular holes and exact 90-degree angles, characteristics that some interpret as evidence of advanced tool use. Local oral traditions preserved narratives about beings of light who descended from the sky and taught ancestors advanced stoneworking techniques. Puma Punku would be, according to these traditions, physical testimony to this cooperation between humans and celestial visitors. In Turkey, the archaeological complex of Göbekli Tepe represents another archaeological enigma. Dating to approximately 9500 BC, this site predates other megalithic constructions by thousands of years and was erected by societies that, according to official history, were still hunter-gatherers. The sophistication of the carved pillars and the astronomical knowledge evident in the structure's alignment suggest capabilities or guidance that transcend what we would expect from these societies. The pillars of Göbekli Tepe are decorated with representations that some researchers interpret as non-human beings and possible advanced technology. One sculpture in particular, known as the handbag bearer, shows a humanoid figure carrying what could be a technological device. Similar figures appear in ancient art around the world, from Mesopotamia to Mexico, always associated with beings who would have descended from the sky. In Egypt, the mathematical and astronomical precision of the Giza pyramids continues to generate debate among specialists. The Great Pyramid incorporates in its dimensions mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio, knowledge that some question whether it was available to the builders of the time. The pyramid is positioned with notable astronomical precision, a location that would have required global geographical knowledge. Hieroglyphic texts found in Egyptian temples describe the Neteru, beings who supposedly came from the stars to rule Egypt during a golden age. These texts, like those found at Dendera Temple, contain representations that some researchers interpret as advanced technology, including what appear to be energy devices and flying vehicles. Modern science reveals intriguing aspects of human DNA that raise questions about our evolution. The human genome contains characteristics that some researchers suggest may indicate modifications or external influences during human species development. The evolutionary transition from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens presents leaps that occurred relatively quickly from an evolutionary standpoint. Our brain tripled in size, we developed complex language, artistic capabilities, and abstract thought apparently suddenly, which some interpret as evidence of possible external intervention. Human DNA contains vast portions of information that remained of unknown function until recently. Current research reveals that these sections contain complex information that some speculate could represent latent capabilities or ancient modifications awaiting activation. The Human Genome Project revealed that humans possess unique genes that don't clearly appear in our supposed closest evolutionary ancestors. The FOXP2 gene, associated with complex language, presents mutations that seem to have emerged suddenly in the human lineage, without clear precedents in other species. Mitochondrial DNA studies suggest humanity may have originated from a very small founder population, which some interpret as evidence of controlled creation of our species. Mitochondrial Eve would represent the first human of a new lineage created through processes we don't yet fully understand. Ancient texts like the Book of Enoch, Sumerian records, and certain biblical passages preserve descriptions of mixing between celestial beings and primitive humans, resulting in a new lineage. These texts describe processes that, with our modern knowledge of genetics, some interpret as possible advanced genetic engineering. The phenomenon of Pleiadian contacts is not limited to ancient traditions, but extends to modern times. Since the mid-20th century, hundreds of people around the world report direct experiences with beings who identify themselves as originating from the Pleiades. These contemporary contacts present consistencies that merit analysis, regardless of how we interpret their nature. Edward Albert Meyer documented alleged regular contact with Pleiadians since 1975, recording controversial photographs and detailed conversations with a supposed Pleiadian named Semjase. Although surrounded by controversy, the Meyer case included scientific information that was later confirmed, including details about Jupiter's moons that were only verified years later through space missions. Barbara Marciniak popularized a contemporary version of the Pleiadian narrative through alleged channeling that suggests Pleiadians would be descendants of humans from the future who traveled back in time to guide humanity through a critical period. This perspective offers a unique interpretation of the temporal nature of these possible interactions. Contemporary Pleiadian contact reports maintain notable thematic consistency. Contactees frequently describe tall, blonde, Nordic-appearing beings who emanate sensations of peace and wisdom. These beings supposedly communicate telepathically and demonstrate concern for humanity's spiritual and ecological development. Many contactees report receiving information about alternative versions of human history, including processes of possible genetic intervention, lost civilizations, and guidance about future events. What makes these reports intriguing is how they frequently align with archaeological and scientific discoveries that weren't available when the reports were made. Dr. Stephen Greer documented testimonies from military personnel, pilots, and government officials about UFOs that exhibit characteristics consistent with descriptions associated with Pleiadians. Silent, luminous vehicles capable of movements that transcend our known physics. According to the Pleiadian narrative, the possible intervention would have been primarily consciousness-based and spiritual. Pleiadians would have come to implement spiritual potentials in our genetics, establishing capabilities like elevated intuition, expanded empathy, advanced creativity, and direct spiritual connection. These modifications would be being activated in contemporary humanity. People who identify as starseeds report carrying inexplicable memories of other worlds, natural facility for understanding cosmic concepts, and instinctive recognition of stellar heritage. These characteristics could indicate activation of possible ancient genetic modifications or represent natural variations of the human psyche. Neuroscience research is discovering human brain capabilities that remain dormant in most people but can be activated through specific practices. Some speculate whether these latent capabilities could represent heritage from ancient modifications or simply natural potentials not yet developed. Near-death experiences frequently include encounters with light beings that correspond to Pleiadian descriptions. These experiences result in profound consciousness changes and activation of intuitive capabilities, phenomena that some interpret as confirmation of cosmic connections or simply as manifestations of brain neuroplasticity. Current science offers interesting perspectives on the theoretical viability of the Pleiadian connection. Although the distance between Earth and the Pleiades is approximately 444 light-years, modern physical theories suggest possibilities for sufficiently advanced civilizations to transcend conventional space travel limitations. String theory and quantum physics present concepts like space-time folds, travel through parallel dimensions, and temporal manipulation that could theoretically allow forms of travel that transcend our current understanding. For civilizations millions of years more advanced, such technologies could be routine. The Kardashev scale concept suggests that a Type 3 civilization would possess technological capabilities that would seem magical to us. For such civilizations, interstellar travel, genetic manipulation, and consciousness modification could represent basic technologies developed eons ago. Astrobiology confirms that the Pleiades star cluster, containing more than 1,000 stars, offers conditions that could theoretically support the development of advanced civilizations. Many of these stars possess ages and compositions that would have allowed billions of years of technological and spiritual evolution. The possible Pleiadian connection manifests through multiple phenomena that some interpret as confirmation of its reality. Crop circles demonstrate sophisticated mathematical patterns and symbolism that some researchers connect to advanced knowledge. Many of these formations appear near ancient archaeological sites, suggesting possible reactivation of ancestral energies or memories. Abduction experiences frequently involve beings that correspond to characteristics described for Pleiadians. These contacts allegedly focus on genetic material and guidance about humanity's future, which some interpret as continuation of monitoring programs established millennia ago. Synchronicity, a concept developed by Carl Jung, represents manifestation of connections that transcend conventional causal explanations. Many people interested in the Pleiadian narrative report increased synchronicity experiences, as if their attention to this theme activated deeper patterns of cosmic connection. Consideration of Pleiadian heritage would revolutionize our understanding of human identity, purpose, and destiny. Recognizing the possibility of hybrid origin would transform fundamental questions of philosophy, spirituality, and existential meaning. According to this perspective, we would be part of a larger galactic family, not an isolated species. This vision would transform our relationship with the cosmos from separation to belonging, from existential loneliness to potential cosmic connection. If our genetics contained intentional design implemented by advanced civilizations to facilitate spiritual evolution, this would suggest we possess latent capabilities awaiting activation as we approach possible reunion with our stellar family. Current civilization could be undergoing activation of ancient genetic modifications. This process would explain both contemporary challenges and the potential for transformation that many feel characterizes our era. Recent scientific discoveries offer intriguing context for the Pleiadian hypothesis. The Kepler mission confirmed that planetary systems are extremely common, dramatically increasing the statistical probability of intelligent life. Thousands of discovered exoplanets demonstrate that conditions for life exist abundantly in the universe. The SETI project detected mysterious signals from space that remain inexplicable, including transmissions originating from directions that include the Pleiades region. The WOW signal of 1977 and recent fast radio bursts could represent communications from advanced civilizations or natural phenomena not yet understood. Advances in genetics reveal that genes can be activated by consciousness and environmental factors, offering a mechanism by which possible ancient modifications could be awakening in contemporary humanity or simply representing natural genetic plasticity. Consciousness research suggests that the human mind may possess capabilities that transcend apparent physical limitations. Studies on telepathy, precognition, and out-of-body experiences produce results that some interpret as confirmation of capabilities implemented through ancient genetic modification or as evidence of still ununderstood aspects of human consciousness. Humanity could be undergoing fundamental transition that will lead to profound changes in consciousness and spiritual capability. This process would represent activation of potentials that were coded in our genetics since remote times, or simply natural evolution of latent human capabilities. Pleiadian contactees report receiving information about a period of global awakening that would coincide with energetic changes in our solar system. This awakening would include development of telepathy, expanded connection with nature and the cosmos, and preparation for possible official contact with stellar civilizations. Current global challenges could represent necessary symptoms of transformation that will lead to a new phase of human evolution. This perspective offers alternative understanding of our role in the process of planetary change. According to some interpretations, advanced civilizations would continue guiding humanity in developing sustainable technologies and harmonious social systems. Recent discoveries in alternative energy and regenerative agriculture could reflect this guidance or simply natural evolution of human knowledge. The patterns and connections we explored suggest fascinating possibilities about human heritage. The transcultural consistency of narratives about beings from the Pleiades, combined with scientific discoveries about life in the universe, indicates that our origin may include elements that transcend conventional explanations. Archaeological and scientific evidence may possess explanations that include advanced technology and knowledge of external origin. The presence of apparently impossible characteristics in ancient constructions and evolutionary leaps in human development suggest possible assistance from advanced civilizations or aspects of human history not yet understood. Humanity may be recognizing deeper aspects of its origin and preparing for the next stage of consciousness evolution. This process would include activation of latent genetic capabilities and preparation for possible contact with stellar civilizations. We've reached the end of our exploration of Pleiadians and possible origins of humanity. What we discovered are profound questions that deserve our continued reflection, regardless of how we interpret their literal or symbolic nature. We examined patterns that extend from ancient civilizations to contemporary reports, from archaeological discoveries to advances in genetics and consciousness. Cultures separated by oceans and millennia maintained consistent narratives about beings from the Pleiades who would have influenced human development. Pleiadians may represent our stellar family, ancestors, and mentors, or they may symbolize deep aspects of the human psyche and our connection with the cosmos. This perspective transforms our understanding of human identity and cosmic purpose. Our understanding of humanity's origin continues evolving through discoveries that expand possibilities about our heritage. Each archaeological discovery, each advance in genetics, each new exoplanet adds pieces to a cosmic puzzle that may be much more complex than we imagine. The story we explored invites us to consider our possible nature as beings with stellar connections. We are extraordinary because we carry potentials that may transcend apparent limitations, connecting us to a galactic family of consciousnesses or simply representing natural capabilities not yet developed. Our relationship with the stars may represent genetic memory, recognition of cosmic origin, or universal archetypes that resonate deeply with human experience. Insight experiences that transcend personal knowledge may reflect activation of ancient heritage or simply extraordinary aspects of human consciousness. The questions we explored guide us toward recognition of our potentially stellar nature and preparation for continued evolution. They invite us to develop latent capabilities and consciously participate in our transformation, whether it be of stellar origin or purely terrestrial. Continue exploring these possibilities, developing your latent capabilities, and staying open to the extraordinary future that may await our species. If you want to continue this journey of discovery with us, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. There's much more for us to explore about our origin, our purpose, and our potential destiny. Until our next exploration of the mysteries that make our existence so fascinating. Keep your eyes turned toward the stars and your heart open to all possibilities of who you might be.